Simone Ahuja. I'm an author and an innovation strategist, founder of innovation strategy firm Blood Orange. And we're going to talk about AI creativity and marketing. Like Martina and Christopher were talking about, there's nothing that AI will not impact. How do we become those people that understand what to do, not the ones who are afraid of it? How do we understand how it works? What are the right things to do? Those are some of the topics that we're going to tackle today in this short session. So I've got some marketing heavy hitters with us. Let me bring them up. First, we have Pranav Yadav. He's a founder and CEO of NeuroInsights that specializes in looking at how neuroscience can decode the subconscious, right? And help really think about what is it that drives behaviors. Absolutely fascinating. And create lasting memories too. Then if you love whiskey and other spirits, you know Suntory. Allow me to introduce Chief Digital Officer and Chief Technology Officer of Suntory, Hernan Tabah. So he's very uniquely positioned to help us really think about the role of Gen AI and personalization without harming brand integrity and also not making it too vanilla. Right? It's a challenge that a lot of marketers face. And finally, we have Wanda Weigert of Globant. She's their Chief Brand Officer. And Wanda is going to spotlight some real-world insights and case studies for us. They work with many different industries, so it'll be great to hear those insights for you and the results that they have. So let's get started with a first question for everyone. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for having us. So what I want to ask you first is, how are each of you and your organizations leveraging AI to accelerate, improve, enhance marketing, and maybe even creativity? Because I think that question remains for some of us. Can it really happen? Let me start with you, Pranav.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I'll have to level set because what I do is so unique for people to understand how we're leveraging AI. So we're based on the premise that the past 5,000 years of philosophy or the past 100 years of neuroscience tell us that 90% of all human decision-making takes place in the subconscious. And by definition of the subconscious, it's below your conscious awareness. So the $1 trillion that are spent every year on new product innovation, strategy, marketing, advertising are essentially relying on self-reported behavior, which correlates to in-market behavior at a 24% level. So out of the trillion, we're wasting $750 billion every year on marketing. Now, my company invented a brain mapping technology that allows us to look at how people fundamentally, subconsciously react to any kind of situation, marketing situation, etc. Now, culture is built on mythology, stories, songs, and rituals. And unless and until you're able to decode that, you're not able to actually communicate in a way that becomes memorable. Now, the reason why memory is important is when you see an ad for a car, they don't expect you to go buy a car right now. What they hope is a year from now, when you have the means to buy the car and when you have the desire to buy a car, this brand of car pops up. So memory becomes the one quintessential thing that correlates to future purchase behavior when it comes to marketing. Now, using AI in my world means looking at brain data from the past 15 years of memories. So if McDonald's wants to actually make an ad tomorrow, we can actually figure out the 10 most memorable burger imagery from the thousands of imagery available to be able to communicate in a way that actually leads to action. That's my short answer.
Fantastic and fascinating as well. How about you, Hernan?
I love what he's doing, so thanks for sharing that. So our brands for digital to create very relevant experiences. If you think we are talking about very premium spirits, and 80% of the consumers on those premium segments expect us to deliver very, very curated experiences. So we really need to know how they buy, when they buy, how they make the decision, what is relevant for them. So we spend a lot of time on very traditional brands, re-architecting the brand strategy for digital. So what is relevant for them as an individual? What is relevant for them in terms of culture? What he's talking about. The main concept of a brand manager is to embrace and to embed the brand in culture. So what is relevant for them in terms of beliefs, behaviors? What is relevant for them in terms of how they consume, how they buy, and be there from a technology standpoint where they buy and how they connect with the brands. So I think Martin was saying before, each of those decision points have massive amounts of valuable data for us to optimize those journeys to be relevant for the consumer. So from an R&D perspective, from a research perspective, thinking about avatars and how we accelerate the research on consumer behaviors, how we think about recipes on innovation for RTD, and how we use AI to fast track the way we traditionally used to do product development, to media optimizations or consumer journeys that are relevant for consumers that travel from Singapore to London to New York. And we need to provide consistency across the brands and across locations. So AI is across all the value creation model, and connecting those data points is where we're investing a lot of time these days.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Hernan. Wanda, how about you?
Well, I think first, let me share. I'm the chief brand officer at Globant, but I also lead Globant GUT. Globant GUT is our network a marketing network where we are bringing together the best of creativity. We have brought to our family GUT, which is one of the most creative and successful branding agencies in the world and creative agencies in the world, and of course with Globant. So our idea here is basically to do that, to bring together and try to differentiate us from other agencies and try to bring the best out of those two worlds. We have all our technology expertise, we have all the creative expertise. So what can we do from that? AI is a big pillar in this discussion. You know, every organization is talking about how we are going to use AI, how we are going to analyze all our data, how we are going to get faster to our clients, or I don't know, to different cultures to understand what they are wanting to understand. And the sea is limitless. You have, I don't know, over 14,000 applications for AI, using AI in marketing. So what we're trying to do is try to understand what's in there and try to help organizations figure out that they still need to think about their goals, and with those goals in their minds, with their strategy in their minds, of course, how technology can boost their results.
Yes, and I suppose that helps manage some of that limitlessness that we're all feeling. Speaking of feelings, this next question is for you, Pranav, because when we were chatting earlier, I cited a quote that many of you are familiar with. It's a Maya Angelou quote. It's very beautiful, actually. It's people won't remember necessarily what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And while there wasn't a real eye roll on your side, I could feel it. So let's talk about that. Because I know you don't think feelings are unimportant, but let's talk about when you think about going beyond entertainment, where do feelings reside in terms of importance, and where do memories reside?
Yeah, well, if you live in my world, and I just came back from the Forbes CMO Summit with 100 of the most important chief marketing officers in the country, this is the most quoted quote. And so my eye roll, I would still do it again. It's because the marketers focus their entire jobs on that word feeling. And this is what they use to like put tentpoles into their company's minds that, hey, you don't understand feelings, I'm here to understand feelings. The truth is, the operative word in that quote that Maya Angelou is saying is forget, and not to forget, right? It is about what makes you memorable. Any decision made in the future based on information that you're receiving today is based on memories. And unless and until something goes into your long-term memory, you do not have that information to make a decision off of. Feelings may be a reason why you choose to commit something to memory, but so is personal relevance, so is visual delight. But the binary thing here that leads to decision making in the future or not is memory. If I have to summarize the past 15 years of my work into one line, it is that memories are neither an accurate nor an active repository of the past. Memories are guideposts to future behavior. Evolutionarily, We don't save memories to keep a record of the past of what you were doing on your 21st birthday, which I hope something was fun. You save memories for who you want to become tomorrow. You very conveniently choose to delete the items that are not going to inform the you of tomorrow. And all of marketing, outside of the some frivolous modern day performance marketing efforts, has been about decisions made in the future based on information today. So that's the role of memories in our decision making, and it's the all important thing in marketing.
So memories over feelings?
Definitely memories or feelings.
Okay. Over to you, Hernan. What I'm really curious to hear more about from you is AI and its role in personalization. And you were talking about even the expectation of many of your customers in having a customized or personalized experience. How has AI helped you do that specifically? And I think the real question is also, how do we make sure it doesn't feel rote or vanilla or doesn't compromise brand integrity?
I want to take a step back because when we talk about AI, we now tend to generalize on Gen AI. And I think that many of us have been doing AI for many, many years. And to your point about personalization, it's not just about Gen AI. So we've been using AI for media optimizations or for recommendations or for audiences definitions or lookalike models or propensity models for conversion on the funnel. We're using computer vision for digital shelves or optimizing POS design across the globe to understand how we land the right messages in India versus in Japan versus in the US. All that is AI. We're using AI now for R&D, as I mentioned before, big time. My point here is when we start thinking about AI, Gen AI in particular is one set in your toolbox to do personalization across channels, to do frictionless experiences as what we like to claim we do. You need to tap into significant data. And it's not only Gen AI. So we use a lot of AI for clustering and understanding propensity models. We use a lot of AI for predictive modeling on behavioral science, what the consumers say versus how they behave. And for us, it's very important when you're talking about premium spirits. The experience of buying that bottle is a very curated one. So we need to understand what they said and how they behave. Now Gen AI comes into play, and we're using a lot of Gen AI to decode some of those insights, summarize those insights. And the next step is we're translating those insights into content. So the content factory that we are creating is based on the translations using Gen AI through the insights that we create through other AI capabilities. So hopefully that doesn't feel like a push of not very personalized, but it's very curated on data, behavioral data that will make the brand make relevant experience for the consumers. That's how we are approaching it.
Fantastic. And I think this really connects to that larger question then too of where does AI play and where do people play? What's the role of humans? Are we becoming irrelevant? I mean, can AI really help us facilitate and grow our creativity? If we think of, the internet, we didn't have to memorize as much stuff. Now, generative AI, we don't have to synthesize as much. So what's left, I suppose, is this higher order thinking and creativity. And that's my question to you, Wanda, is can AI really help us be more creative in marketing?
I think the short answer is yes. But I can provide the longer answer. Eh, let me start with an example. So I think that I shared this with you. This year, GUT won a Grand Prix in Cannes for a case that was for Mercado Libre. Mercado Libre is like the Amazon for Latin America. It's the most important retailer in Latin America. So for the past Black Friday, they wanted to do a campaign that could stand out in Brazil and not do a traditional commercial, right? Go traditional commercial, advertising their products and offers and so on and so forth. So what they did is to try to blend and create a mix between their creativity and technology. Mercado Libre's logo is a handshake, okay? So what they did was with data, they did an engagement with the Globo, which is the largest broadcaster in Brazil, and whenever a handshake appeared in any TV show, a QR code with a coupon or discount appeared on screen as well. So when there was a soccer match or a football match, as we say in Argentina, a handshake between the referee and a player, a QR code with discounts for sports goods. In a music concert, same thing, a handshake and discounts for music instruments and so on and so forth. And this perfect mixture between creativity and technology actually created a more perfect outcome, which was business results, because it was the most popular, most successful Black Friday for Mercado Libre. It boosted 80% their sales. So we have someone, Christian is there from GUT. He was one of the responsibles of this campaign. And basically, it's showing how creativity can be impacted and can be boosted by AI. Of course, I don't think that it can be replaced. There is a research that I read a couple of weeks ago, but by a scientific magazine in the US. They brought together a group of writers. They tried to understand how much Gen AI, not AI, Gen AI can be used to boost creativity. So they had this group of writers, and they split the groups in two. And to one of the groups, they say, hey, use Gen AI to start writing stories, short stories. And to the other groups, they say, you write them yourselves. What they found out is that the group of writers that use Gen AI were able to provide faster content and more creative content, which was great. Okay, it was a great outcome. But at the same time, after some time, they started noticing that creative content started to become more similar and more similar as more writers started to use them. So at that moment, the conclusion was, okay, Gen AI can boost creativity, but it cannot replace the uniqueness of people, because the most creative and most relevant writers. Hi, Martin. The most creative writers of the group were still able to produce the more unique content of the whole crowd. So that's the whole conclusion that I would like to point out. Gen AI can help boost creativity, but you still need the human intelligence to create the perfect match.
When it comes to, let's say, larger organizations, okay, very large organizations, when it comes to marketing and AI and creativity, and using AI as a lever, what are they getting wrong? And what can they do about it? So just a sentence or two.
Okay. I can start first. I think that Hernan was pointing out the massive amount of data that we have. And I think that I don't know if a recommendation, but my idea is that, of course, you need data, and of course there is a lot of projects to be done out there, but you can always start small. Like you don't need to fear what's in front of you in terms of data. There are several, like NPS. You have a lot of information from your customers. You can use AI. You can use Gen AI to understand, to still start structuring that data and get outcomes that can easily be used for your marketing campaigns. So start small and then go big.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be massive. Fantastic. And then?
So a couple of statements. Whatever is the question, the answer is not Gen AI. First point.
No.
Second point is, I'm a technology guy. Understand what you're talking about. Ask your team to go deep. Again, you have different problems to solve. Not all the technologies work in the right way to solve the same problems. So you're going to invest money. You're going to try to create pilots. You're building credibility, and you're building the organization along. So understand what are the problems that you're trying to solve first. What is the technology that will better solve those problems? If it is AI, bingo. But you can solve a lot of other things with basic analytics that we've been doing for many, many years until you get the data ready to start putting more sophisticated AI capabilities. Gen AI has a massive potential, but it is not the answer for every single problem that we face.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hernan. And Pranav, let's wrap it up with you.
Yeah, first, I'd like to point out that you remember what I said from yesterday. You may have liked me or you may have disliked me, but the fact that you quoted it today is because of memory. So that goes back to the point about memory. I think in life, in love, in friendship, in relationships, the biggest mistakes we've made throughout history and now is thinking that the journey is the destination. When it comes to marketing specifically, we confuse the medium or the platform to being the answer. When we shifted from radio to TV, suddenly we thought like, oh my God, TV is the answer to everything. You shift from TV to digital advertising, then social. Each one became a destination to their agency forms just to do TikTok content, and now, TikTok's gonna go away, and what are you gonna do now? The question is, we're making the same mistake with this. At the end of the day, if you have to move humans, it requires the exact same thing. You have to create stories because the human brain is a pattern-seeking storytelling device. You have to create stories that speak to the deep unmet needs of people. How you find out those needs, how you deliver those stories will change, and any technology made for the rest of humanity will need to aid in those processes, but it's never about those technologies, it's about the person on the end.
So that's what we have for you today, everyone. Thank you so much. And thank you to this really fantastic panel for sharing those crisp insights with us. We appreciate it.